Okay, good afternoon, ladies. Welcome and thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes. So for the viewers, these two lovely ladies have decided to organize a design conference in South Africa, a remote one. And so we'll be talking about that today. But yeah, I think maybe if you guys just want to, for the viewers, just to give us a quick, they've met Liz before. So Liz, maybe you can just give us a reminder of your background, and then Sanisha, you can just follow suit and just tell us kind of your background.
So hi, I'm the practice lead for UX and UI design at DVT. I've been in various sort of design industries in the past 10 years, from advertising, product design, UX design, digital design, advertising, you name it. And yes, I'm very passionate about helping people to find the things that they're really passionate about and helping them to solve problems. I'm also busy with a PhD because I like problems and making problems for myself and solving the problems. And my PhD is looking at healthcare and how design can help in healthcare. And I broke my foot a few weeks ago. And I'm actually busy writing an article on the sound design in emergency rooms and what stuck out to me, the sounds and the mechanical sounds that you hear in hospitals during that time. So all around me, inspiration from everywhere. And I think that's kind of what we want to do with this conference as well. There's such interesting people and such interesting inspiration and inspirational people that we've met. We want to take those ideas and share them with lots of other people.
Awesome. Love it. Sanisha?
Yeah, that's really cool, Liz. Yeah, I totally agree with you. The inspiration is everywhere. So I'm going to go backwards and say how come Liz and I are kind of
please
collaborating on this. Exactly this kind of conversation, having this conversation over Zoom last year about feeling just depleted from working remotely and lacking inspiration. We thought, why don't we just start a conference where we, create some kind of momentum around these different ideas that are all around us and getting people on board. And the reason why I am in design now is exactly because of that. There's so many creative people doing like amazing things, especially in product design. I fell into design kind of by accident. I started as a land surveyor and then started lecturing at WITS. That was about 10 years before I fell into a startup. And in that environment, you get exposed to tech and all kinds of people and things. And so I found UX design. And yeah, it's been great, especially being at DVT and connecting with people like Liz and coming up with ideas and following through on them. Has brought us here to where we are planning this online one-day conference.
Yeah, fantastic. So we'll talk about the conference in a bit, but I actually wanted to get your views on kind of the landscape. So, I mean, you obviously saw there was a gap. So yes, we were all in lockdown and remote working became a real thing. And you just told us that kind of inspired to where you are today. And so my thing is, you obviously saw a gap. Can you tell me, what do you guys feel about the local design sort of industry in South Africa? Like, what are your views on how it's all put, like where we are? I feel like, in a lot of ways, we're a bit immature still. We're still learning, especially in the product space. So from a design point of view, where do you guys see us compared to like the Europes or Americas or even the Asia for that matter?
Lucky enough, last year, because we're now in the new year, that I attended a few international conferences online, and it was really inspirational to see how they think and where they're going towards. And I think the South African design industry has a lot of potential, and we have some incredible designers in South Africa. And I think that in no way must we ever step back or feel inferior to other countries. I think, as you said, other countries maybe just have a bit more, they've had a bit more time to mature. So for instance, one of the big focuses at one of the conferences I attended was UX psychology. Which then it's no longer just looking at what's functional and how to actually make people move from one screen to the next. It's really trying to understand, but are we creating the right thing for the right people? Which is the question that we are already asking and that most designers in South Africa are already asking themselves. but I think we haven't been able to necessarily take it a step further, because sometimes we are still stuck in that phase where you need to convince business why UX really is such an important aspect. But I think that we have an amazing industry in South Africa. I've been lucky to attend quite a few South African conferences where we've had amazing people speak. And we do have really interesting South African conferences. There are very few though, and the ones that we have are very specifically focused on UX design and interaction design. Or then you have Design Indaba, which is,
Yes.
very, very, very broad and very international. So we sort of wanted to look at a niche that's somewhere in between, where we look at something ranging from product tech to interaction design, to furniture design, to typography, to all the different niche little areas of design, and how we can look at that in a truly like proudly South African way, and how we can broadcast that to the world then.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Sanisha?
Yeah, I think also importantly, we wanted to try and make it accessible to people. And so now finally, location or geography is not a limitation. And also we're trying to make it affordable. Because I mean, Design Indaba is a wonderful opportunity, but it's really not something that most of us, and especially students, can really attend unless they, have some kind of a sponsorship. So yeah, our goal is for it to reach as many people who are interested in it as possible.
So Sanisha, how's the landscape evolved in your time?
Right.
Like just so, like you said, we're talking about, Liz spoke about the maturing of and we're in a good space. So, I mean, as we're going, and I think we're doing it at a fast rate, what have you witnessed? What have you seen? And that brings us to having a conference like you guys are doing.
Yeah, there's definitely been some changes. Like I think when I first started, there was really a need to be very strong in graphic design, or what we call UI, and less of an emphasis on the human aspect and the human centeredness. As much as we'd like to talk about it, it wasn't necessarily like a prerequisite to do anything in design. Whereas I think that is really changing now, where being able to because of design systems that we have available to us, the emphasis is becoming more and more on being empathetic and actually putting that into practice, which I think is a really, really great shift. It's wonderful to see that we really are becoming more human-centered, or we're trying to. I think if you work at a bank, that becomes a bit more difficult to put into practice. But I think there's definitely been a shift from when I first started in this.
Yeah. So I think especially now in these remote times, and you ladies are obviously organizing this conference. But other than that, I know I spoke to Liz and you had a little side project. You're very busy. But where can designers kind of, besides the conference, like where else do people learn? What kind of opportunities are out there, Liz? You want to just touch on what you spoke about last time, and just where else can people find inspiration to kind of learn? There's this knowledge thirst happening at the moment everywhere.
Yeah, like I've had so many people reach out to me on LinkedIn, which I'm very happy for people to do, in case you are interested in. And that specifically I want to ask that, where can they learn more and how can they get in touch with people? Because a lot of the time, people moving into UX design are people that have maybe already started other careers or studied other things. So Sanisha being an excellent example of that. Myself as well, I started in advertising. And very often you learn this through practice and through getting knowledge from other people. So I would definitely say meetups are an amazing source of knowledge. People tend to be very open and very happy to share. So there's the UX Joburg meetup. There is UX Cape Town meetup. There's She Can Do in Johannesburg. There is Ladies That UX in Cape Town. There are quite a number of other ones that I can't remember just now, but there are quite a few in South Africa. And the Interaction Design Foundation, obviously, they have branches in Pretoria, Joburg, Cape Town, and those are all really amazing sources. And with everything being online now, I've even been attending meetups in San Francisco and New York and in Copenhagen, which is amazing because you can get this knowledge from these incredible people. And for the first time, it's actually accessible.
Yeah.
So as bad as the thing that shall not be named is, it has benefits in the way that it's allowing people more connection in this way. So even the fact that we're doing this podcast in this manner, it's nice because, you know, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. People are more comfortable talking, so they're in their own space. So there are lots of places, and there's also a lot of free resources online where people can do UX courses. So Coursera has quite a few free ones. The Delft University in the Netherlands also has free UX courses you can do. There are paid for courses as well. To University of Cape Town and MIT even has a paid for 10-week human-centered design course you can do. So there are lots of resources online. I wrote an article about it, so if you can find me on Medium, it's on there where I listed all of the things. And yeah, there are so many resources. And generally, if you reach out to, you know, someone you admire in the UX field, most people are very happy to tell you like, oh, these are the sources I follow or the blogs that I follow, or happy to point you in the right direction. Most of the people I've met in tech are really cool people and really happy to share knowledge. So
absolutely.
reach out to anyone that
I love that about, I don't know if it's a South African thing or if it's just in the tech industry, but the community is just so amazing. And so everyone's so willing to help one another. I just feel so privileged, really. So just this might come across as a very broad question for you ladies, but what do you guys feel is key to becoming a strong UX or a designer in general? What would you say is key? And for companies or startups, you guys say you've been in startup spaces, for them to create good products, successful products, what would you say is key from a designing point of view? Sanisha, you want to go first? On the spot.
Yeah, I'm going to answer that by also just reiterating what Liz said about LinkedIn. Like, if you just see the way LinkedIn has kind of evolved over the last 2 years from being this site that you go to like once every year to update your career thing, to this like social, actually very social community site. I've connected with some really, really interesting people on LinkedIn and found out about something called, for example, RX, relational experience. That's like a completely new concept to me, which I find fascinating. I wouldn't have heard about it if I didn't connect with random people on LinkedIn. So to answer your question, I think it's curiosity. Like, and all the different channels will help you if you are curious about design, about the world, about serving, you know, solving problems and serving, you know, your community. So I would say curiosity, and LinkedIn for connecting is also very interesting, because if you look at Slack, like so many cool Slack groups which you're not interacting on, because there isn't this dynamic content going, like it's just very static, which is a pity. And that's what LinkedIn gets right. Like, things you can just read about things and reach out to people all the time.
Very right.
Feedback. So yeah.
That's interesting. So curiosity and using LinkedIn, I guess. Liz,
yeah,
what do you say?
As a start, I think, yeah, like I've also spoken to quite a few people who've reached out to me on LinkedIn and given them advice, and I feel I could do the same to people who I admire on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's taking you asked that question. Like, my number one thing I would say is also curiosity. That's what, in my opinion, makes a good UX designer. It's not just accepting things at face value, it's asking why. So if the client tells you people aren't signing up, you need to ask why, and you need to look further, because sometimes the problem that you are presented with is not actually the problem, it's a symptom of the problem. So people aren't signing up. Why? It's not that, you know, they can't find the button, it's that they can't find the website in the first place. So you need to start looking further and not just accept things for what they are. So curiosity, and I think also humility, like being able to acknowledge that your preconceived notions are most likely wrong, because you design from your own perspective and from your own point of view, from your own background. And me designing an app for, you know, maybe someone that has diabetes. I don't have diabetes. So what I'm assuming of how people will use that, it's wrong. So you need to actually go and talk to the people and be able to accept that most of the time your assumptions are going to be wrong, and you need to be able to roll with that. And in terms of then creating great products, I think there needs to be a lot of respect between the tech team, the business team, and the designers, because each of those has a very unique point of view and a very valuable point of view that they bring to the table. It doesn't help you have an amazing business proposition, an amazing design, and the technology to create it doesn't exist. And it works for that way for this little triangle of tech, business, and design. So there needs to be respect and understanding that each one of those has a valuable role to play, and you need to listen to the other people when they tell you that this specific thing is really important, or that a specific thing is impossible to do. You never know.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Thank you very much. So let's go in. Obviously, your design conference this is the first, I'm sure, of many. So what is kind of the vision that you guys are sort of foreseeing of where you guys are going with this? Liz?
Well, we want to have it as a platform to inspire people, and a platform where different disciplines can interact and integrate with each other. So our theme for this year is intersection, and the idea that you have these incredible ideas that intersect with each other and create new ideas. So we have talks on how culture and ancestry influence design. We have a talk on how the Soviet space mission can be used as a blueprint for product design. Those are just two of them. And we have such incredible talks that sort of mesh these different disciplines and these different ideas, and how we can learn from different disciplines, and how we need to take that time to not just necessarily focus on your own speciality, but actually take the time to listen and understand how you can learn from other people. Because it's usually at those intersections that interesting things happen, and where you can learn new things. So that, and then we also want to give a platform for people that maybe haven't spoken before, and people that have these great ideas, but they don't necessarily fit into a traditional UX conference or a traditional design conference. So these sort of weird and wacky, interesting ideas, and give people a space where they can talk to other people about that and have these conversations. So that's another big part of the conference is we're hosting it on a different kind of platform called AirMeet, where we'll have social lounges where people can then actually in the breaks, go and sit at a virtual table and sit and have conversations and talk to each other about these topics. Because that's one of the big things that we found was missing from online conferences, the networking.
Yes.
Like the talks are always fascinating at conferences, but it's those conversations you have with new people afterwards around that topic, and then that spiral into something else. That's sort of where the true value almost lies. So we wanted to find a way to facilitate that. And then Sanisha found this amazing platform for us that we've been trying out. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to experiment with that.
Okay, awesome. Sounds really cool. So where can people find it? Like, where can they get tickets? And where can they find out more information? Sanisha, or who's got that info for me?
So Quicket is the platform where you can buy tickets. But if you have, let's say, if you want to make a block booking, like we have one from okay, I won't say who for now in case. But if you want a block booking, you could contact us directly and we can help you with that if you can't use Quicket. Also, just reach out to us if you feel you can't afford the ticket. That's also we're very open to that. And also just to kind of answer your question about where we're going with this.
Yes.
It's a good question because a lot of this, the way we planned this, has been very organic. We've kind of, for lack of a better word, we've made it up. We've made stuff up as we went along. We didn't have a clear vision from the beginning, except for the principles that Liz spoke about of getting different disciplines together, making it accessible, being proudly African in our approach. So who knows where we'll just let it unfold after this, see how it's received, and hopefully it does lead to more cool stuff that we can get our teeth into, because it was hard work. Let me tell you, it is not easy to do.
Tell me about it. What was the hardest part about it? I'm curious for those other people that want to do it.
Where to even start? Like, so we started with just trying to figure out what we wanted to do. So we created a Miro board and we just started writing words down. We're like, but what do we want this to be? And then things like inspirational and South African, or African at least, and intersection, design, technology, these kinds of things started popping up. And then from there, finding a name. So DxZA, the idea that, you know, you get CX design, UX design, as she was saying, like RX design, all these different X's. So we thought, okay, let's make it DX. So design and everything else in South Africa. And yeah, like finding speakers, thinking, how do you contact speakers? How do you reach out to them? What kind of messaging do we want to convey? What kind of tone of voice do we want to convey? And as you can see, we're quite casual, and that's the way our messaging is as well. I think we've done this in a very agile way, in the sense that we have an idea and then we run with it and we're like, okay, that's not quite working. We tweak it a bit and we carry on. So we've kind of tried to stick with the central idea of, we want to inspire people and we want to bring people together, and around that everything else keeps changing. And we've gotten, like, every time we talk to people, friends or colleagues, we get more ideas and we get more inspired, and then we're like, oh, okay, wait, let's try this, or let's try that, or okay, that's not working, we'll try that. And it's a lot of work in between, you know, have a full-time job for both of us. As Sanisha said, your people are welcome to email us at hello@DxZA. Our website is DxZA.co.za. You can find us on Twitter. I think it's Design ZA, because Twitter won't let you just have 4 characters as a name. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have all the links underneath the chat now. But yes. Well, anyone's welcome to reach out to me or Sanisha or to the conference. We're happy to chat. And yes, we want to have as many people as possible. So the idea is also that we want to give some tickets away to students, free tickets that they can attend and learn, because too often people, while you're still studying, you don't necessarily know everything that is out there. You don't know the difference between UX, UI, CX, product design, where, or product management, where all those different things fit in. So hopefully through the conference, we can also inspire people for some new interesting areas that they can go into.
Love it. And tell me, it's a one-day conference, you said. So from what time to what time? Can you just kind of explain how the format's going to work? Who would like to take that? Maybe Sanisha?
Yeah, sure. So it's 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. on the 21st of January, which is a Thursday. We have 12 slots, let's say. We have, in between the talks, we're going to have the chance for people to interact in the social lounge part of the platform. So we're trying to not make it too intensive, you know, cognitively intensive, or to try to balance it with some socializing if we can. Because it's an online conference and you don't get that opportunity like you do in person at a conference to just step out or take a breather or like approach someone. We're trying to, sorry for the noise, we're trying to simulate that as best we can. Yeah, and really the challenge, I think, even running up to the conference, is just to get people to feel like they have as much of a stake in this as we do. Like, everyone's a designer, everyone can be a collaborator. It's as much yours as it is ours. And finally, we can do that online because, you know, we can keep costs to a minimum. But at the same time, it is harder to get people to kind of be excited about that, you know, because we're not like, it's not in Cape Town and you can't go to the beach as well as go to the conference.
Even if it was, we couldn't go to the beach, so that's fine. Don't feel bad.
Yeah, true.
Might just need to have a room with a virtual beach in there.
Yeah, thanks to Zoom, we have these backgrounds we can use. But yeah, no, that's great. And for example, I think it's going to be recorded. Is there like a limit, like an access that when you have a ticket, you have access to, you know, features or other whatever it is? Do you have that, Liz?
Yeah, so we will be recording the sessions and we will release it at some point afterwards. And if someone during the day doesn't have the time to watch all of the talks, it will be available for them immediately to rewatch it. And like I said, at some point later on, we will release the talks. And yeah, so when you buy tickets, you'll have access to the speakers immediately. There'll be a Q&A, live Q&A afterwards with all of the speakers. So you'll have the opportunity to talk to them, to have that interaction. And then, as we mentioned, the social lounges. So you'll be able to have the conversations and that networking aspect with other attendees and the speakers. So that is, I'd say, one of the biggest reasons to buy a ticket and not just watch the recordings is the fact that you get that interaction and you get to talk to
100%.
people about ideas and, you know, meet some new interesting people that you can follow on LinkedIn and on Twitter and that you can learn from in the future.
100%. So yes, go.
And
Sanisha.
sorry, the other thing I want to mention what exciting thing that we have is European small software companies, so not Figma or anything, are wanting to give participants some access to their software as an incentive, you know, and for them to kind of use it and know about it. So that's something that would be quite cool because it's a journey mapping software.
Nice.
So I personally haven't ever used that, and I'm very curious as well to use it. And I think that's.
Is it like an overflow type thing? Overflow. Have you guys looked Overflow?
No,
it kind of is a user journey. So you got your screen, you can see the journey that the user will take. So you have your screens that you design, and then it shows you can map out. I don't know if it's
I haven't used it, but I'll be able to compare afterwards.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, we've been having some meetings with some of the people from their side, and they want to offer the attendees free licenses to that to try it out, and it's some really cool software. So something cool and interesting for people to be able to use. We wanted to have a live event on the 22nd of January so that people can mingle in person. But considering the current states of things, I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
But the idea is definitely, no, we're not taking that risk. But we definitely do want to have other events throughout the year. We don't want to just have this be a once-off conference once a year. We would love to have like smaller events, like maybe workshop events where you on a Saturday or so get people in and get an amazing person to take you through a workshop like once every few months. And so we really want to keep the culture of DxZA as something where you keep learning and you keep interacting with people. And we're lucky that like a lot of the meetups that we're involved with that we've spoken to, they're also very keen on getting involved with us. Because it's not a competition. It's a mutual thing. You learn different kinds of things at different kinds of groups. And I'm very excited about that. And from the reaction that we've been getting, it seems that people are quite excited about the conference, and I'm excited about that. Because I mean, we only ever want to create a space where people can feel that they're interacting and learning. And it makes me excited that people are excited about that.
Very cool. So I actually want to go into some of the actual speakers that you've got lined up. And is there a one that you kind of sticks out that you're waiting for, that you are anticipating? Sanisha, is there which one are you looking forward to and why?
Well, I'm honestly looking forward to all of them equally. But I think the one that is the most that was the most intriguing in the beginning is the space program one. I was like, is this guy pulling my leg? What is this? what? So I'm very excited about that one. So it's what the Soviet space program has taught him about design, ultimately. And I don't know anyone else who knows enough about the Soviet space program to connect it to design. So that's something quite, maybe just me,
Intriguing.
yeah, that is quite intriguing. But
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm not a parent, but I know a lot of parents looking forward to the one about UX for children, for designing children between age 3 and 8.
That's
I think that
interesting.
would be really
Because
cool.
they get digital products very early these days. That's a cool concept. Very cool concept.
That's by Dr. Sabina Thomas. She's based in the US.
Okay.
And yeah, we're very lucky to get her on board as well.
Oh, fantastic. So how many international speakers do you guys have?
I think about 6. About half of them.
Okay, so there's 12 speakers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so half of our speakers are international, and they have some amazing topics. So I would also have to say I'm very excited for all of them. One that I find really interesting is Huatu Yang. I'm very sure I'm mispronouncing her name. I actually met her. She's part of the Women Who Code in New York City, and I gave a talk at their event. And she messaged me and she said, it's so coincidental that she has been doing talks about how poetry is our companion in product development, and specifically looking at Nelson Mandela's poetry. And so she's talking about that, how Nelson Mandela's poetry has influenced her in product development. And I find that such a beautiful concept that, you know, someone in America is looking at our country for inspiration in that sense. But I mean, yeah, like we've said, we have so many interesting speakers that are some talking about more practical topics, some talking about more abstract topics. And I really think all of them are going to be amazing. And I think that we were very lucky that we had a lot more speakers than we could actually accept. So I think that's always the worry, that when you put out a call for speakers, that you'll have like one person applying.
So
but
next time, 2-day event, hey guys, come now.
We're going to have to. I mean, if we had this many applications for our first event, and that's the thing, the speakers that we declined, it's not that they weren't amazing speakers. All of them had really cool topics. We just sort of went for the topics that are maybe a bit more new, or that, you know, had a slightly different
almost.
Yes, a bit more progressive and pushing the boundaries. But yeah, very excited to see what comes from it.
Cool. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining. I am personally looking forward to it. Try and get some time off work myself to join. But yeah, is there any final words that you would like to just give the people about attending, or things to look out for that we kind of haven't spoken about already? Sanisha, you look, I'm picking on you, sorry.
Oh yeah. Yes, so in hindsight, maybe Thursday in January was not the best day to have this conference. So the people who do attend, we know you are diehard supporters, that we will definitely in some way reward you.
Just go speak to they should go speak to their bosses. Hey guys, you know, 2021, give us some time off, you know.
No, I mean, it makes sense.
I'm going to go learn, and I'm going to bring back what I've learned. That's actually the biggest thing for me. When we talk about going, I love going to events. I love it. I love it. Especially in the product space. I love it. And you know how much I take back to work. And then my colleagues are like, wow, where did you learn this? I'm like, well, I'm just active in the community really. And I'm going to events. And so, you know, for people listening, say that.
Exactly. It gives you an edge. It'll give you an edge for the rest of the year. But we also understand if you really cannot make it, we totally get it. So if you cannot make it, we would say just send positive energy and love and light towards, you know, new cool things like this. Support us in thought, and that's all. We really would appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love it. It's proudly South African, and we need to be doing that. Liz?
Yes. Yeah, we're actually working on just a little blurb on how to convince your boss to let you go to the event. So we'll give you a little write-up that you can send them in an email to tell them, all the things that you're going to learn here. Because that's the main thing, is you'll be learning, and you're going to take that inspiration with you throughout the year. And then on that, whether you can or can't attend, if you go and look at our website or our Twitter or our LinkedIn, you'll notice that we keep changing the X in our DxZA, because we feel that, the event keeps changing, we keep changing, everything keeps changing. So we keep changing that little design. So please feel free to send us in your designs for X's. And we love to feature them and add them into the website wherever. So that's a way that you can be involved, even if you can't necessarily physically attend. Yes, X. So we might just send you something to say thank you for that. So please do get involved in any way that you feel you can, even if it's by attending future events or by just sending some good vibes. And best of luck for 2021 for everyone. Hope that it is a better year than last year was, and that, only good things for this year.
100%. I love it. I like that, Sanisha. Can we all just give ourselves do that? Go, Sanisha, do it. Nice. Cool.
Thanks,
I'll see you.
Bobby.
There we go. Cool, guys. Well, thanks very much for joining. Really enjoy speaking to you ladies again. Best of luck with the event. And I wish you guys all the success, and I look forward to following your journey.
Oh, thanks for your support. Yeah, I really appreciate that too.
Cool.